First and foremost, can I just say how thankful and grateful I am to all of you who have supported me, supported the channel, supported the planner, and you've gone out and already purchased the teacher planner through my website, theletteredclassroom.com. Now, for those of you who have been anxiously awaiting for me to put it up on Teachers Pay Teachers, it is finally up on Teachers Pay Teachers. I will leave a link down in the description so that if you want to go check it out there, you are totally welcome to. But thank you to all of you who have supported me and purchased it in my personal store. So on the screen, you guys are going to see some of the key features of the 2019-2020 Digital Teacher Planner. Now, I encourage you to pause the video, take a screenshot, read through all of it so that you have an idea of what it is that we're going to talk about today with the planner in general. Now, if you really love the ramblings of what is it that I do, later on, after I go through all of the key features, show you the basics of the planner, I am also going to do a setup of what my planner and how I'm going to end up using it will look like. So if you are excited about this, go ahead and give that video a thumbs up, guys, and let's do it. Okay, so I am going to do my very best. In the very beginning of this video, I'm going to show you all of the key features. We're just going to do a rundown of the planner in general, and what's included inside of it, show you around basically, to give you a little tour. I'm going to be like your tour guide of the teacher planner. And then I will do my setup afterwards. Now, if you're wanting to skip and go into the setup because you already have this teacher planner, I'm going to do my best to time mark it and put it in the description box. Will somebody please just put it in the comments down below just so that we can all help each other out on this. But we're going to go through first of just the key features, and I'll talk about tips and tricks a little bit later on. All right, guys, so the very first thing that you're going to see on the teacher planner is the cover page. Not much is done with this cover page, but the next really important, and to me, it is the most important page, is going to be your home tab. Now, in this home tab, you have two different sections. You have one section that's custom tabs, and then you have another one that is your reference that has all of the different templates that you could possibly use in this planner. So the custom tab pages, I'll go over these really fast, but these are all color coded. Now, what's nice, I'm going to choose one that I don't necessarily have anything behind it. You can click on the tab itself and it'll take you to a page, and what you're going to notice is that color that you clicked on is the exact same color that you saw up here on the custom page, on the home page. So I can click back and go home. Now, the reason why I call these custom pages is because these pages don't have anything on them. Now, what you would want to do is copy some of the template pages, whether it be like the dotted pages, lined, maybe just a blank page, and place these behind these areas so that you can create this and make it anything that you want to make it. So for example, if I go to the home, I am going to show you one of the versions that I use, and that is projects. So for my projects, I just simply added very simple projects, and then if I swipe, you're going to see that I have my project planning template that I've just started dropping those in. So that way I have a spot where all of my projects are housed, and versus me having them in all these different random places in my planner, it's all in one spot. So what's nice is that you can make this whatever you want to make it. If you're not much of a project planner, then you don't necessarily have to use it the way that I'm using it. So I'm going to go back to the home page. Again, these are all of the ones that you can create on your own. If you want to use them for, let's say, budgets, let's say you want to use it as a meal planner, exercising planner, whether you want to use them as additional checklists, the ideas are pretty much up to you and basically what you specifically need. So now let's go through, we're going to talk about the reference pages. The reference pages, the first one that we have is a 2019-2020 at a glance. And this is exactly what it is. It is at a glance. Now you're going to notice the 2019 version, this only has from May to December because when I launched the planner, I launched it in May. Something that is nice here is that I can click on any of the months and it'll take me directly to that monthly page. So that is a really nice feature to have. So I'm going to go back to my home page. That was the calendar at a glance. Then we're going to go into account information. With account information, this has a little bit of a different look this year. I just wanted something a little bit more clean, but you have a spot to be able to put all of the accounts because y'all know we got a lot of accounts. I have so many accounts that I have to keep track of. But you have the account that you need to have. So this would be the website, the whatever it is that you're trying to keep that information for, the username, the password, and there have been certain situations where I've had to have other. So if you're a Scholastic member, you have like a Scholastic like code, a PIN number or something to that extent, you would be able to put that in that spot. So again, just another really easy page, useful page. Now, if you have more than 17, because you're thinking over here, Bridget, I have way more than 17 accounts, bless your heart. I have no idea why you have so many accounts, but you could very easily copy and paste this page behind it. So I'm going to go back to the home. Let's go to schedule. This was a new feature that I did add this year, and I was very excited that I added it. I think it's going to help me a ton this year. So we've added a weekly and cycle schedule. So 2 different versions because I have 2 different needs. There are weekly schedules of here's what I need to get done on a Monday, here's what I need to get done on a Tuesday. Now you can use this for anything if you just want to keep track of some of the every weekly or every cycle routines that you have. You can place those in there. If you don't use cycles, just ignore that piece of it. You could copy and paste a second version and have 2 different versions in there just by screenshotting it and putting that picture, cropping it out and placing that picture right underneath and getting rid of the cycle altogether. This just allows me to be able to kind of set my routines. So if you have those routines that you want to keep track of, you want to start establishing more of a routine for yourself because you felt like last year it was just really chaotic, this is a really good spot for you to be able to set that routine and just kind of write out that schedule. Now, if you have certain times where it ends up changing, but you don't want to erase the schedule, you could, again, copy the page within the PDF reader that you're using and then paste it wherever you need to paste it in your planner. What's beautiful is that when you copy it, you can still use those links, which is a very nice feature to have. All right, let's go into the next one. So the next one is special dates. So this hasn't really changed a ton. I use this for birthdays, and then you have ability just to be able to write down whatever you want to put down for that month. Now we kept it as special dates versus putting it as birthdays because I also have situations where I like to write down ideas of what is it that I need to remember to do. Like every February, well, we have a Valentine's Day party. I always have some sort of a cultural heritage day that we end up having our celebration. So they're just little events here and there that I want to make sure that I write them down so that I'm constantly going back and looking at it and refreshing my memory. So there's your special dates. Then we have student information. Student information is exactly what it is. It's just a spot for you to put every child's information down so that you have very easy access for it. We've left it at primary 1 contact, primary 2 contact, because not all kids have parents. So that just kind of made it easy. So you have your first person that you would contact and then the second person that you would contact. Then it goes into bus information. So with bus information, I typically only kept track of how the kids were leaving at the end of the day. Coming to school was never really a worry for me. It was always, how do I make sure that they get home? That was always a stressor. If you want to have one for each, copy the page, duplicate it, put it right behind it, and then you can have it very simple for an AM and then a PM version. But this allows you to be able to put their bus numbers and just write the kids' names to keep track of it in there. Then the next one is going to be your meetings and professional development. So you have to keep track of your professional development, the meetings that you're going through, whether you're doing some sort of a PLC or something to that extent, you're able to put all of those dates on there to keep track of it so that you can make sure that you're getting the hours that you deserve to have. Like you need to keep track of those hours for your certificates. So just a spot for you to be able to put that information. Going back to home, Looking at a task tracker. Now, I really enjoyed task trackers. Sometimes we just need to have a checklist. Sometimes we just have to sit down and write all of the things that are going on in our lives. And this is just that. It's just a spot for you to be able to write down as much information as possible. Now, I would recommend that if you are using this page, I would not write on this page. I would use it truly as a template. So you would duplicate this page, put it somewhere else in the planner, whether it's behind a create your own tab or behind a certain week that you just need to kind of do a brain dump. But this is just a spot for you to put down all of the things that you just need to get out of your brain and placed on paper so that you have, well, digital paper, so you have a less of a stressful time. Okay, looking at the next one, which is the project planner. I love my project planner. It is really useful to have, especially when I have some of those bigger units that I really need to make sure that I'm planning out. So I did change it up just a little bit this year. I ended up adding just dotted lines for the notes. I'm going to zoom it in. So you're going to see that there are very faint dotted little dots that make up kind of a grid. This simply allows for me to be able to draw, to be able to write anything that I need to do without having just like the plain lined paper off on the side. So it just kind of opened me up for more flexibility with what it is that I personally needed my project planner. But again, just like the task tracker, I would not specifically use this as like your starter. Use this one as your template. You could duplicate the page, copy it, and then place it in a different area in your planner and use that one to write on. So just like I created for the create your own tabs, I made a project planning tab. So I copied this page and placed multiples of those behind those other pages. Going into the next one, which is a daily planner page. This is a really nice page to have, especially if you're feeling incredibly overwhelmed. You have a lot of meetings that are happening. There's a lot of things that you just need to write it down on paper to kind of focus more on the specific day. You could copy this page, paste it behind any of the weeks that you really just need more of a daily, like a larger focus, because you just have that many things going on in your life. So off at the very top, you have an area for you to be able to write the date. Then you have it broken down by times. So this would be 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30, so on and so forth. So you could simply create your own schedule here. Then on the other side, you have a spot for a top 3 list. So you could put your top 3 tasks that you need to get completed that day. And then you have a box for a to-do list. So this is where you can truly bullet out all of the things that you need to get accomplished that day. And for those of you who are like me, you don't drink a lot of water, but you really want to focus on drinking a lot of water, you have little water droplets for you to kind of color in and making sure that you're staying hydrated, especially on those busy days. Off on the side, you have some grid paper. Now, the grid paper can be used for multiple different things, but the biggest thing that I would think is some sort of a habit tracker, something that you need to focus on. I've seen a lot of people that are in the planner community that they use this side for their power hours and making sure that they're giving themselves, they're working on so many, a certain task for so much time. You could do that here where you could draw out your own grid and have your assignments that you need to get completed and say, I need to complete, up to 50% of this by today. But that is really up to you and what you would specifically need. So you can kind of do whatever you want with it, which is really nice. The next one are the checklists. So for the checklist, there's multiple types of checklists, which I will go over in just a second. But the first one is kind of your very basic, I would say this is like your teacher grade book type checklist. Nothing's really changed there, but when you swipe, oh, this is where the beautiful part starts. This is just what makes my heart happy, y'all. We start off with a beginning of the year checklist. So I went a little bit more above and beyond this year on really focusing on what can I do to make this planner more valuable for all of you and to help you plan more and to be more prepared with everything that we have to deal with as teachers. So the beginning of the year checklist does just that. So it helps to kind of set your mind for what are all of the materials that I'm going to need for the beginning of the school year. So that when you do start school, you're not as overwhelmed. So you have all of the different things that you could possibly need. There's general name tags. You have student materials that you would get together, any assessment materials that you would need to get together, classroom setup, paperwork, parent information, and then there's also some lines that are available there that allow you to be able to write down what any additional items that you need to put in there that is specific to your school or your district. So I think this is fantastic. I just love it. So when you keep swiping, it just keeps getting better, y'all. Then you have an end of the year checklist. Y'all, this saved me this previous year. I used this. I was so excited about it, and it worked out fantastic for me. It kept me organized. I had very specific tasks that I was focused on for the day. I didn't feel overwhelmed. This was just a lifesaver, and I hope that it does the same thing for all of you. Keep going, because it's just going to keep getting better. You have a field trip checklist. So I had to do the field trip this year, and it was incredibly stressful. I have never planned a field trip in my 8 years of teaching, and planning the first one, I was very stressed out. So I decided to create the field trip checklist to go along with it to help keep me prepared and organized and less stressed. So I am very excited to be able to use this year, as I will continue planning it for my team. But yeah, how much are you loving this? Because I'm loving it. Move on. And you get a conference checklist. With the conference checklist, you have just some of the things that I typically think about when I'm scheduling my conferences. I have my scheduling here. I have materials for conference, the setup, because I always do some sort of a setup, a follow-up with thank you notes to send out to families. And then you have a spot here to be able to write your schedule for your conferences. So you have it kind of all in one general area versus multiple different sheets of paper that you're having to stumble through. All in one spot. That's going to be my new motto. Maybe not, because then that would just be a pile of stuff. So swipe again, and you have a party checklist. I know, Bridget, you've outdone yourself. That's what you're all saying right now. So the party checklist, yet again, it's just a spot for you to be able to kind of think through everything. If you are the party planner, or if you have a parent that's going to come in, a new parent that has never planned a party, this might be something that would be really nice to print it out, because you can print out one pages. Print the one page out. Give it to them. See if they can just kind of take it and run with it. But it's theirs to help you kind of organize those events. And for those of you who have just something in the house that you were like, oh, Bridget, I can't believe you forgot this one. I kind of didn't, but I did. But I did put in a blank checklist so that you can make this into anything that you need to make it. Put your own headers in there, and then create your own lists as you need it. But hopefully this does help you stay a little less stressed during the school year. Then we start going into somewhat of the basics. So you have your blank paper. Ooh. We have blank paper that you have the ability to simply copy it and then put it anywhere in the planner. Then you also have the very faint dotted paper, which is my favorite personally. Then you go into the grid paper. Here's your grids. Copying and pasting this page anywhere that you need to have it. And then your aligned paper, which is just basic lines. So those are the 4 different types of paper that we offer. And then we have a little sneaky feature here, because if you click on the lettered classroom down there in the corner, it'll take you directly to my website. Then if you decide to click on this little corner, down at the bottom. it takes you to my Amazon store so that you can always keep up to date with my favorites. So the website is above, the store is down below. So I'll do that one more time. If you click on the top, the lettered part, it takes you to the website, and then the classroom version takes you directly to my Amazon store, and you automatically have access to those two websites at your fingertips. Okay. So those are all of your reference pages. Those are all of those like little features off on the side. So let me just show you like the biggest piece of it, which is the monthly and the weekly pages. So I'm going to go ahead and just head over to August because that is when the majority of us start to go back to school. And on August, you're going to see that the monthly is a nice, clean, huge layout, which is what I love about this planner so much. I really wanted to give you guys as much space as possible, whereas in the previous planners, I felt like I had a little bit too much of the backgrounds kind of playing a role in it. So the planner is the meats and bones of all of this. So with the monthly view, I do start it on Monday and then it goes Saturday, Sunday together at the very end. Now, the reason I like to do this is simply because a lot of the times I have my chunk of my weekend stuff happening here. So that is the way that my planner is set up. Just like with the at a glance, the 2019-2020 at a glance calendars, if you click on this little calendar in the corner, it'll take you directly to that month as well. So I'm gonna go back to August. So you have your monthly view, which gives you access like a quick jump to be able to go to September. And then you have lines for you to be able to create some sort of a to-do list and a little box up here for you to put anything that you need to put in there. Now, when you want to go to a weekly, you have two different options. So you can swipe with your finger to go to the next page, or at the very beginning of each month are the numbers. If you click on any of those numbers, it'll take you directly to that week, which is really nice so that you don't have to keep going back and forth or swiping through like all of those pages, which would drive me crazy. So you have the Monday through Friday features here, and then you have 3 different boxes for you to use for whatever purposes that you would like to use. So I have left these completely blank this year. There are no boxes. There's no 5 boxes. There's no 7. It's just a direct line of a box, like a vertical box. So that is it, guys. That is pretty much my entire rundown of what my teacher planner looks like. So I hope you found this. If you were really just wanting to see what is this planner all about, like what do you have in it, I hope that this was incredibly helpful. Now, if you are here for the how in the world are you using this, because I know so many of you have been saying, Bridget, I don't understand why you don't have boxes in your weekly layouts. I've gotten a lot of those comments, and I want to share with you how I am planning and using this planner for the 2019-2020 school year. So if you're curious about this, continue watching. If you now just want to go and you want to go grab that planner and you want to just get it and then dive in and then come back to this part of it, I encourage you to do so. Links will all be in the description box. So thank you all for watching this piece. So now we're going to go ahead. I'm going to take a quick water break and we're going to jump in to my setup, how I am using this 2019-2020 digital teacher planner. Okay, I am hydrated and ready to go back. So for those of you first, I'm going to give you a rundown of my setup because I know I get a lot of questions of Bridget, what type of planner are you, or like tablet are you using? What is all of the things that you have going on here in order to make this digital planner work? That is by far my biggest asked question. So the first thing that I want to talk about is my tablet. Now I use an Apple product. So it's an Apple product. It is the 12.9 iPad Pro. So it is the big daddy of iPads. It is not the newest version that's out there, but it's the older version. I don't know how to explain it. It's not the one that was released this last year. So it is the 12.9 inch Apple Pro, Apple iPad Pro, and then I also have the Apple Pen. Now this is the first generation pen that came out, and I love this setup. This is fantastic. However, you don't need to have the exact same setup that I had. Now I had a much smaller iPad. I think it was just like, it wasn't even a Pro. It was just the 2018 iPad that was out there that was compatible with the Apple Pen. Now, I wanted it to be compatible with the Apple Pen because, in my opinion, I think this just makes it so much better for me. You absolutely do not have to have an Apple product or an Apple Pen. So this product that I have launched, the 2019-2020 Digital Planner, is a PDF essentially. So it is just a PDF document. When you download it as a PDF document. But what I am using is a PDF reader to be able to annotate on it. So those are a lot of different types of apps out there that I will talk about. So the planner itself can be used as with Microsoft products. It can be used with Android products. It can also be used, of course, with Apple products. So you don't have to have the exact same setup that I have. But if you are curious, that is what I've got going on in this bad boy. Now, let's talk about those PDF readers that I just mentioned. So many people ask me, what is it that you use? I personally like Goodnotes. I use Goodnotes 5 as my app that will allow me to write. It'll allow me to type and highlight, draw, whatever it is that I want. It is a PDF app, like an annotating app. You could also use Notability, which I'm going to actually show it to you on Notability because I do have it on here. Let's just type it up. So even in Notability, I have my teacher planner there, and it works very, very similar to what the Goodnotes app does. Of course, there's going to be some differences. I think you just need to play around with it, figure out what is it that you like and what do you need, and decide on your own from there. But for me personally, I use Goodnotes. You could also use Xodo, which is a free PDF annotating app, and to try it out. So thinking about all of this, if you want to try out this planner, but you're like, I just don't really know if I want to invest in it after you even see what I'm doing here, I have available in my store my 2018 Life Planner. Now, of course, it's 2018. It's old. It's not an up-to-date planner, but it gives you an idea of how it works, and you can just put it onto your iPad or tablet, whatever you're using. Try it out, play with it a little bit, use Xodo as the free annotating app, and see if you like it. And if you like it, then maybe you decide that you want to invest in something a little bit more like Goodnotes or Notability. But you do have those options that are out there. Okay, so let's talk about how I am using this planner. This is the part that I'm really excited about. So the first thing that I want to kind of go over and talk about is my spots up here, my custom pages that I can have. So I have already put in a few, I didn't want to do that. I've already put in a couple of pages. Let's go ahead and jump to one of them. And the first one is Brilliant Ideas. Y'all, basically what I did is, if you have been following me for a little bit, I also like to use an app called Over, and Over just allows me to type, but I get to play with pretty fonts and things like that. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. But I just used Over to type these words out, and then I pasted that in here. So I used Brilliant Ideas. Don't you love that? Isn't that catchy? And so I have basically what I did is I took my task tracker, and then I also created this, but I made it in Procreate. You could probably just do it on the computer as well, like on a Word document or a PDF document or something to that sort. Or don't, it's up to you, and then paste it down. But I had seen somebody's video, I thought that this was brilliant, and so I wanted to try it out and do it for myself. So all this is just a copy and paste, and then these little dots here are copy and paste as well. Like, I copy and paste a lot of things in this planner. So I always try things out, try things a little bit differently, make them work for what is it that I want them to work. And then I just added some pages kind of back here in the back. So that's kind of the first thing. And this just allows me that for at the very beginning of the week or at the end of a week or whenever I just feel like I need to just get everything that I need to have done out of my brain and on paper, this allows me to be able to do that. So let me show you really fast, because you're like, Bridget, how in the world did you do this? I'm going to show you. That's the purpose of the rambling. All right, so I'm going to actually delete this. So I'm going to delete that as well and all of that. You can see where I just like hodgepodged it. Okay, this is like the original page right here. This is the task tracker that all of you know. And then I decided that I wanted to try something out because I saw it in a different video. And I was like, oh, I'm going to give that a shot. All right, so here's how I did it. So basically what I did is I needed to take a screenshot of this. So if I did, using my little lasso that I have up here, I'm just going to go through and very carefully lasso those little dots on the side. And then I'm going to hit that and it's going to say take screenshot. So I'm going to take that screenshot and boom, now I have it. So I'm going to hit that little arrow. I can save the image. And then I can go and drop that image, boom, right there. And then I'm going to resize it to somewhat of the same size. And then just place it where I want it to go. Okay, so that just gave me like 2 shorter rows versus having one really long row. Again, I just kind of hodgepodge this and just play with it until I figure out what I want. Then what I did is I went on to Procreate, which I will show you Procreate, because if y'all don't have Procreate, it is a little bit more of an expensive app. I'm not going to lie. But it's pretty cool. So all I did was I took an artwork and I drew 2 lines. That's it. That's all I did. And then all I have to do here is I can then take it and then I'm going to just give me a whoops, not a PNG. No, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to do a JPEG, and what a JPEG does is it keeps that background on there so that I don't lose that background. I don't want to lose the background because I want it to cover what I currently have there. So I'm just going to hit copy versus saving the image, because then I can go back to my planner. I'm going to hold my finger down and then paste. So there's my little image, and all I did was I made it a little bit bigger to fit where I needed it to fit. Boom. It is literally that simple. I went on to Over and I typed the words that I wanted to put around each box, and there you have it. So if you were thinking, but I don't really need that, you can make this any way that you want to make it. Like, even I'm doing it. I get bored of having the exact same things over and over again, so I play with my planner just like this to do something different and creative and figure out, you know, what else is it that I want to have in that planner. So there's one way. My light is fluctuating because I think it's about to rain, so y'all are going to have to apologize. Apologize right now. I'm really sorry. Okay, so let's go back to my home. So that's the first one. The second one, you guys already kind of saw that if you saw the first part of this video. It is literally just my project planning. All I did was paste the pages behind it, and I just put a few templates back there instead of all of them. So that's what I have so far. Now I am going to put some checklists back there. I'm going to create one for checklists. So I'm going to show you how I make these really pretty non-handwriting words with Over. So let's go to Over. Over is an app. Now it can be free. I have the paid version of this app. Okay. So the paid version, what it allows me to do is it gives me a little bit more features, but it also allows me to upload any of the, wow, it got really dark in there. It allows me to upload any of the fonts that I want to use. So I'm not kind of stuck using just their fonts. I can use any font that I want. So I'm going to hit the little plus button, and then I always hit transparent because I don't want there to be a white background. And then what's nice is they give you all of these templates, and I typically always pick 3:1. That's just the size that I end up always picking. I'll hit check, and then I'm going to do my text. And now I'm just going to do, let's just say it's homeroom checklists. So let's cap homeroom checklists. Wow, I don't know how to spell. So then I can play with my font, which I can't remember what font I used. It was a very simple one. Is it Ooh, that's it, San Francisco. All right. So then I can make it bigger to fit where I want it, and I'm going to change my color. So I think I just had it as black. Now that I have it, I'm just going to hit my check mark. I'm going to go to export, and then I'm going to hit more. I'm going to copy it instead of save it, so that way I'm not constantly putting things in my camera roll. Come here, I'm going to just hold my finger down, hit paste, and now I can just size it to where I want it to be. Boom, homeroom checklists is ready to go. And then all I have to do is then copy and paste and put pages back there, which I am also going to show you how I do. So what I do is I go to, and this is going to be, again, it's going to be different based on any of the apps that you're using. So if you're not using Over, you're going to have to play with it. Like anything, like just like we tell our kids, y'all, like when a kid comes up to me, you're like, I don't know how to do this. You're saying, you're going to figure it out. I'm kind of telling you guys now, y'all need to try to figure it out. You're going to sit there and you're going to play with it and you're going to figure it out, because that's exactly what I did. But I love you all. So here's what I did. I go to my little waffle, and then it already has that checklist there. So I'm going to hit select, go there, and I'm going to hit copy. So once it has it copied, I'm going to go back, close that. I'm going to go back to where I want it to be. So I don't know why I did it that way. I'm going to go to my homeroom checklist, and I'm going to hit plus, paste page. And then it pastes it right behind it. Ooh, I also forgot to do my homeroom checklist here. So I'm going to actually do more, hit copy, go back here, paste. Super simple, super sweet, but that's pretty much what I'm doing. So that kind of gets me set up for right now. I don't really have a ton that I want to do as far as like my custom pages, because I don't know what I really need yet. And I don't want to fill them all up and regret it and have to go back and delete things. So I'm just not going to use that right now. So let's go into the other thing that I want to talk about is like my schedule. So here is something that I am going to go back and I'm going to erase some of this stuff, because I had really and truly just done it because I was using it for an Instagram post. So I don't really remember when all my specials are, to be honest. So I'm not going to even put those in right now. But what I am going to talk about are some of the things that I feel like I like to have set routines established for me for the week, because it doesn't give me that opportunity to say, what am I doing again? Or what's going on? Or what do I need to get done? It's always that feeling of what is it that I need to get done? I'm telling you how to get it done. Like I'm already having it written out, ready to go to talk about. I try to change some of the lighting just a little bit. Let's see if that looks so much better. Oh yeah, it does. See, look at that. So much prettier. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about like, what am I using this weekly for? So on Mondays, what I typically will try to do is I'm going to go ahead and print. No, that's not Mondays. That is on Thursdays. So on Thursdays, I know for a fact that I try to print materials. Right? I like to have those next week materials already printed, ready to go, so I'm not stressed about it when I get to that Monday time. On certain days of the week, I know for a fact that I'm going to end up staying late. So like this day is typically my late night. And what I do on those late nights is I will go ahead and have all of my things planned out. So this is my planning night. So I sit down and I try to get all my planning done. I try to clean up a little bit more than normal just because it ends up it gets messy like during the week. It's just kind of how it is. So it's my late night, it's my planning night. So these are just the routines that I know for a fact that I want to focus on. I know that on Tuesdays, I meet with my team. And we usually do this at 4 o'clock. We sit down, we meet for a little bit, we hash out things that we need to hash out, that type of situation. And then when the cycle digs come into play, like I know for a fact that I have a collaboration on days 1, 3, and 6. Okay, so there's kind of an idea of how I would use it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and do all of this on camera with you guys because let's just be honest right now, my brain is still in summer mode and I haven't really thought all of this through total yet. So I'll come back and rehash it when I need to rehash it. So then let's go into, so this is kind of how I would use this. Now, if you want to put in some personal things in there, I would totally recommend putting in personal things. If you do, I would do what I typically will try to do with my monthly. So I kind of categorize my life. So anything for my business, I do it in pink. Anything for my family, I do it in green. Anything that is work related, I do it in a blue color. So I would go through and I would then highlight some of these items. So if all of these were this, I would just go through and have all of those different pieces highlighted. So when I'm looking at that day, I can see specifically, oh, I have all of this is just work stuff so that when I go home, I'm pretty much free when I go home and I don't have to worry about anything. But if I have like Blaine's soccer thing that he has kind of going on, or Ian has some sort of a course thing, I can put all of those inside of this calendar and just kind of say, now what is it that I do on Tuesdays? And kind of gives me a really nice reminder. So that is it for, this like little part. I will say too, guys, like when I use this, because you're like, well, how often do you like go back and look at this? I look at it every single week. So on either Saturdays or Sundays, when I'm sitting down to plan for my week, I will then take some of this information and transfer it into my weekly planning, which we'll talk about in a little bit. That way it keeps me on track and I know what I need to be getting done. So it kind of refreshes my memory, but this is just a nice spot to be able to house all of it versus you going back and switching and looking at the weeks themselves. You're going to one spot to look at the information to see, what are your routines that you have. I thought it's pretty cool. Okay, going into the next one, let's go back. I want to look at reference pages. So like student information, unfortunately, I don't really use any of that just because I can get everything pretty much access on my phone, so I don't really stress about using any of the student information. Now, if you are somebody that you are like, I have like 3 babies that I have to contact all the time, I would totally recommend putting only those 3 babies into that student information. That way you have very quick access to them. The only other one that I could see really looking and talking about is special dates. So here's what I'm doing with special dates. And I think this is going to help me to not be as forgetful, because I tend to be very, very forgetful. So I am going to use one of these for birthdays, but then what I'm going to do is copy it and I'm going to paste a new one to create here's what I do like on these months. So let's do that now. I'm going to leave this one as special dates, and then I'm going to go here. I'm going to actually just change this one. Close. Let's just create a new one. So I'm going to go there, hit yes, and then let's do, this one is birthdays. I think I'm going to just do, what is it called? San Francisco. Let's make you bigger. I wouldn't try to use the exact same font just because you're going to get annoyed that it's not the same. So we're just going to make them two different fonts. I'm just going to go here, have that selected. Where are my special dates? There it is. And then copy it. Done. Close that. And then here, I'm just going to go ahead and paste that page. I should have just put this afterwards, but it's not a big deal. Okay, so now I have one for special dates, birthdays, and then another one that's just blank. Now I am going to go ahead and tell you this. Like, there's no way for you to get a tab, like create a new tab for this new one that you've just pasted. Okay, the links are only for the links that are already there. So if you copy pages and you place those pages like behind one of your custom tabs, or you add pages there, you're not going to be able to do much of anything. Like, you can't create a link for it. So what I recommend doing is, if you want to absolutely have a way for you to very quickly be able to access this, you can just hit the little flag, and the little flag up there in that corner allows you to be able to have all your flagged items. So when I click here, I can just go to my favorites, and all of my favorites that are flagged are there. So that way it's a little bit easier. So you have like outlines, favorites, and then thumbnails, which is what you normally see when you hit that waffle. So there's an option for you. But I could very easily, like, I know for a fact that every January DRA assessments are going to happen. So I'm going to write that down. And then we always do some sort of an activity with MLK. We always do some sort of an activity with resolutions. But it's those like typical things that you really want to make sure that you're remembering. Because like, I feel like sometimes it comes to that month and I'm like, oh, I forgot to plan anything. It's like one of those types of situations. Like, I always do something for Valentine's Day. And last year pretty much came close to not doing much of anything at all because I almost forgot. So that's kind of what I'm going to use here. I have one for birthdays, and then I'm going to have that other specific one here. So that's kind of that option and how I'm going to be using like that little section there. So I think for the most part, everything else is kind of basic. So I'm going to jump into the month because I think that's where everyone always has a ton of questions. How are you using your monthly and weekly, most importantly, weekly pages? Because I feel like y'all saw what I did with those weekly pages, and I about had riots happening because people were like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to show you in this video. That took me forever. Okay, so here is what I do for the monthly pages. It's not really anything special. Like I said, with the schedule piece of it, I like to highlight and categorize like my events by colors. So anything again with business is going to be in pink. Anything that is in green is for family. Anything that is blue is going to be for my classroom, like my school work. And I just put really those dates that I need to remember in here. So already I have like the first day of school. I can go ahead and highlight that with my actual color. Let's see. So the blue is highlighted. Boom. I have that done. So I guess that's not really like much of like fantastic way of planning, but it makes it easy for me. It's something that works out for me. Play around with it. Explore with what are some of the options that you can do. I think there are a lot of different possibilities out there. But yeah, that's kind of how I use my month. Let me show you one of the months that I've already had previously. Let's do June. June doesn't really have much of anything either. Come on, May. Here we go. May has a little bit more of something. So you're going to see here that I started school. So like I'm also going to grad school. So grad school is like this like tannish, really pale orangey color, peachy color actually. So all of those items are in here. So you're going to see that there was some Blaine soccer in there. I tried to put down some videos that I wanted to start trying to film. Anything that was in blue was for my school, but I keep it very, very clean and simple. And I don't try to go above and beyond with the monthly page itself. So let's now talk about, and I think this is the biggest and the last thing that I'm going to end up talking about, is the weekly pages and how I'm using my weekly pages. So those weekly pages are just vertical lines. Like there's no boxes in there, and people just, I think everybody is having a hard time visualizing how to use it. So here's how I was using it. And I got this idea from Pocket Full of Primary. Michelle just did something with the life planner that blew my mind. And I thought that this was a great way to truly be able to customize your planner to fit the needs that you need. Because there were times where I felt like not even the 7 boxes were working for what I needed. And her idea was just so great that I was like, I'm gonna run with it and I'm gonna see what people think with it. So you're going to see here that what I did is I created these little headers, like these little box headers. I keep mine pretty simple, but that just allowed me to be able to change up my spaces. So if I needed to have more time in math because I had more things that I was going on in math, I could give it more of a much bigger space than what I had when I was restricting it to a very small square. So that's the version that I have been using, but I want to show you guys some different options. So I have a few different options that I'm going to share with you on how to create all this. I am going to show you how to make this so that you can figure out what you want to do and how you want to work it. Okay, so let's go to August. I'm just going to do it like for every week of August. I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to just play with this week. This first week of August. So the first way that I'm going to show you is going to be the way that you just saw just a minute ago. And this is how I've been using it. This is how Michelle with Pocket Full of Primary has been using it. And it's with Over. So like I said, I go back to Over because Over is just what I use and I really enjoy it. So I'm going to create a new one. I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Nope, didn't happen. Then I'm going to go to Transparent. I don't want to lose sight of the little dots, so I'm just going to create it as a transparent. I'm going to use that 3:1 ratio again, and I'm going to hit OK. Now to create that little box that you guys saw around there, all I do is I put in a shape. I'm going to stick a shape in there. I'm going to change my shape, and I'm actually going to make this a little bit right there. So once I create it, what's nice is that I can then, let's do, this needs to be off. The border is going to have a width and we're going to do, let's do 20. Okay, that looks pretty nice. Once I have my box, I am now going to add my text. So text, I'm going to do morning meeting. This is the one I've been using. Let's do that one. So let's say I want to keep it pretty big and I know it's going to end up just kind of, there we go. I think that's a little bit too big for me. So I'm going to go back. Let's change that border back down to 15. I think I liked 15, but the color needs to get turned off. Oh, I think I like that so much better. Doesn't that look a little bit better? There it is. So now I have one box. I can just go back to over, and then I'm just going to go back, and then I'm just going to change my wording. Let's go, I got to tap on this one. There it is. So now I can change it to math workshop. I have that. It keeps it all the same so the boxes don't end up changing like crazy. I can copy it, take it over there, paste it, and everything will look very, very similar. And I can put it wherever I want it. So let's say I end up not even having a ton of morning meeting because we have like some announcements or something that took way too long in the morning. I can move it up and have more time for math. So I can kind of be the one in control of how much space I give each of my different blocks. Now, if you feel like that's too much work for you, here's a much simpler version. So let's go to Tuesday. I'm going to, just with my handwriting, I'm going to do morning. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it with a little bit of a thicker pen. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is on my shapes tool, I am now, let me make sure that I have the fill color off. I am just going to draw. Wow, somebody really needed to tell somebody to hurry up. And there it is. Very, very similar. So if you wanted to just write it, create your own little box there, you have that option to be able to do that versus having to go through and over and creating it and over and having to go through all of that. Now, what's nice is that once you have these made, so let's say that I'm going to just do a couple more. Let's do math. I'm going to put my box. Wow, that was a very bad box. All right, so once you have those little features there, you can simply, y'all, you can just lasso it, copy it, and paste it for each of the links. So you also have that option as well. It's not as clean cut, but if you just wanted to get to the point and be able to do that, it is available and you're able to do that. So I'm going to erase these. So those are two different options for you. The other that I wanted to show you is how to create those equal boxes. So let's say you wanted to go ahead and have like all of your subjects on the side and you wanted your lines go ahead and made so you didn't have to worry about it. Here is how you're going to do that. So using that pen tool, and the shape tool, you are going to create your lines. So I'm just going to simply follow along one of those little dots all the way and it creates my first line. What's so beautiful about this is that you can really make it, again, the size that you want to make it. So if I want to make a smaller one, I can make my smaller one. It is that easy. Now, if you wanted to put your subjects on the side, here's how you would do that. So using that pen tool, I could just simply put morning meeting, math, and so on and so forth. So whatever it is that I needed to put there. Again, if I wanted to just copy and paste it, guys, all you got to do is just copy and paste the whole thing, and you would be able to simply take it to the next week, paste it, and put it right wherever you needed to put it. It is literally that simple. So all you have to really do is create your first template and then have it like that for each of the weeks. But the beauty about this planner is that you're making it the way that you want to make it. Now, let's say you love the teacher planner, but you don't necessarily use it as a like a true planner. Like, you don't put your lessons in there. So you're like, I want to use it for something totally different. So here's the next option that I have for you. And I'm just going to show it to you versus like walking you guys through like the whole little process here. So there were a few times where I was like, I don't really need anything, like I don't need to put anything teachery because it's the summer, like what do I need it for? So instead, all I did is I went and wrote all of my time, starting from 7, then 7:30, 8, 8:30, 9. I created each day had its own like hourly schedule because I was using my block timing. So if you haven't seen my like summer productivity video, like how to be productive over the summer, I talk a lot about blocking out your days, like blocking out time in your days to focus on a very specific task. So this allowed me to be able to block those days out. And then at the same time, I still had space down at the very bottom to create a task list. So some of the items that I really wanted to focus on just getting done in random spots during the day. But you could very easily just write that in. And then the same thing, you would just simply copy and paste it. So I could take this here, I'm going to copy it, go to the next week, and then I'm going to paste. And you can place it anywhere that you need to place it. Simple as that, which is pretty cool when you think about it. Now, if you're someone and you're like, Bridget, you don't have Saturday and Sunday available there. You know what? Those boxes on the side can be used for Saturday and Sunday. So if you have something that you really want to focus on Saturday, you could write it out. You can go into Over, you can type it out, and you can make these into your Saturday, Sunday boxes. And then down at the very bottom, use it as a project box to keep track of the projects that you need to complete for the week. So the beauty about this is that you have the ability to be able to use it any way that you want, create it into anything you want. And even as your life tends to start to fluctuate and change, because we're not all the same, we're not constant. As you can see, I've had a number of different ways that I've started using this planner. You have that ability to be able to change it up. So what's so hard about some of those paper planners out there is that you're stuck. Whatever you get is what you get. You really can't change a ton with it. But with a digital planner, you have that ability to be able to change it and customize it to where you are in your life and your specific needs. Now, for those of you who are wondering about the paper planner, because some of you are just like, I need to have my paper planner. I am going to be launching the paper planner. It will only be available in that like vertical box format, but it's not going to be dated. So you'll have like some different options on how you would be able to use it just like this, but there is going to be a paper version that's going to be launched in about a week or so. So be looking out for that. I'll kind of launch it out on social media. So if you're not following me there, definitely follow me there. Whew, I feel like we've gone through a lot of light changes. I'm super thirsty. My back is hurting from the stool. But hopefully this video allowed you to be able to get a better insight of the digital planner, the 2019-2020 teacher digital planner, how I am setting it up and using it for this school year. So you kind of saw some different options for weeklies and how to set up those weeklies. And more importantly, how you could change it to fit your needs. I mean, that's kind of what you want things to be. You want it to fit your needs. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you got to this point, you are like my best friend, basically. Thank you guys so much for watching. I so apologize for this video taking so long for me to get it out. But I appreciate for all, like any of you who were patient, went on ahead and supported the channel and purchased this planner. Again, I will leave all of the links to the 2 planners, whether you purchase it from my store or TBT. Those will be down there in the description box. Also, if I forgot the timestamps for when I started talking about my setup, somebody please put that in there for me. I would so greatly appreciate all of you. But thank you so much for watching this video. Give the video a thumbs up if you are excited about digital planning. You found this to be useful in some way, shape, or form. Like you found a little snippet of information, maybe not the whole thing, but you thought, man, she's awesome. Or her hair looks really good today. Give that video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much. Hit subscribe, hit that bell for those notifications for when I'm uploading new videos, because I will be uploading a few more videos as the summer goes along. So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will catch you all next time. Bye!